Hello and welcome to Averages Assembled, the average podcast hosted by average guys that know a pretty average amount about an average amount of stuff. And we're going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, we are, because my God, what a weekend it's been.
Couple of crazy days, eh?
Yes, I'm George, for anyone listening.
And I'm Lewis.
Nice. So I kind of stole the intro from Lewis, and I just want to get down to talking about my boy. Oh boy.
What are we talking about today?
So today we're mainly going to talk about episode 5 of WandaVision, which may have one of the full spoilers ahead. I'm just putting it out there now.
What? I haven't watched it.
Too bad, boy.
Just kidding.
You have a common chicken. Full spoilers ahead for episode 5 of WandaVision. But we're going to talk about it, our thoughts, and then we're also going to talk about how we would deal with bringing in those Fox properties into the MCU, because with Wanda being an X-Man and Avenger, it's kind of interesting to see where we X-Woman. I'm with her. Where we've been into, and it's just I've had some ideas. I wish. God, that was misogynistic.
Yeah.
And there's other again because I don't want to spoil it. And we're also going to cover how we would fold in the extended Marvel universe into the MCU, because it's been over a year since the Disney Fox acquisition, and I thought it's about time. It'd be quite cool to see where they're all coming from and what they're doing. So yeah. Okay, but first things first.
What they're wearing.
WandaVision episode 5 and what they're wearing.
Right. Episode 5. Am I wrong in saying that this is the best episode so far?
Hands down. This has been the most film episode.
Yeah.
Like if this was this is
where the budget is. You can see where
this
the
is like the midpoint
going.
of the film. Like, okay, we're fully into the strides now. There's a very big thing at the end. Do we want to go straight to that, or do we want to build up to it?
We'll build up to that. I sort of I've written some notes and I've sort of got some general thoughts, and then I've got more specific stuff. So I figured we'd do it that way. So can't even read my own writing.
Good stuff.
Do you think, and this is what I think, this is the most intriguing MCU property so far?
Oh, hands down. This is them. I feel like this is what Kevin Feige's always wanted to make, and obviously Marvel people have been like, we need money. He's like, all right, fine. So he did 20 films beforehand, and then was like, okay, fine, you can do what you want.
They're now at the point where they can do batshit stuff, and people are going to watch it anyway.
Just print money, they just do. I feel like though this is once the Infinity Saga was off, I think in hand with that, it kind of gives them the safety of being like, right, we can try some more creative stuff.
Yeah,
because I know obviously again everyone says this, but Disney at the end of the day, they need safe returns.
Yeah, but you think if they really only cared about money, they would keep their cash cows around, like Iron Man, Captain America. But this just proves that they're ready to move on to a more sort of experimental phase, I think.
Oh, hands down, yeah. So I think it's quite nice to see that. But this is definitely one of those shows that I think we said this before. As thankful as I am, it's a weekly show. Yeah. I want nothing more than to binge this one. It is painful when it ends. It's like I can't think of an old program I used to watch weekly that I was this hooked in.
For me, it was something like Game of Thrones or something like that. That was the last time I remember waiting week by week. And at the end of the episode, you're like, "Fuck! I just want to watch the next one now."
Yeah, you want to watch the next bit. Yeah, that's exactly it. I know some people I was talking to earlier. They only watched the first 3. I had the same feeling, so I was just going to wait and binge at the end. But I was like, episode 3 is the end of the prelude. It's the next bit where you want to.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 is just the format of the sitcom. Episode 4 is where it gives you the outside look, and episode 5 is where it all comes together. So you get a mixture, and all the shit starts, merging.
This episode had me wild, and I didn't realize it was longer.
Yeah.
It felt longer, but then it ended. It felt like it ended halfway through. I'm like,
I was going to say that because the other episodes are 25 minutes. And this one's 40, I think, or something like that. But even still, it felt short, and I was still sort of surprised when it ended. I was like, "What is that? It? You're not going to give me more?"
Yeah.
Fucking
it's bizarre. Okay. But let's get into some more actual in-depth bits. First off, I think this is probably the best showcase of Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany's acting.
Oh, 100%.
Bar none. Like, oh my God. And the guy who plays Norm?
The guy, when he sort of Vision brings him out of the
which
the
also
trance.
How did Vision do that? Like, is that a power we've seen Vision have before?
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure about that.
Like,
hold on.
Because he touched the computer and then he did here. It's like, okay, well, obviously he can integrate with technology. That makes sense.
Maybe
I don't know what happened there. I mean, obviously they needed it for plot convenience.
Does that then suggest that maybe it's something technology based that's at play?
Maybe it's Vision who's doing all this.
Fucking Vision.
What I love is that, like, in Civil War, can you hear that dog?
I can hear the dog. And tell your mum to be quiet.
Loud?
Boom! Got you.
Oh, he got me, ladies and gentlemen. He got me.
Sorry, I just cut you off there. Sorry.
That's all right. No, I was just worried about the dog interrupting the sound. Because one thing I love is if you rewatch Civil War, that scene where Wanda escapes with Hawkeye, Vision is kind of the antagonist in like that scenario. Like you kind of get the impression of, oh, Vision is controlling her and he's the one that's like, no, come on, don't be silly.
He's being like the prison warden.
Yeah, whereas in this one, it's like, oh, poor Vision, like you feel for relationship. Like, Jesus.
The fact that when he says to her, "You can't control me," and she's like, "Can't I?" It's like, oh, that doesn't. That's not nice.
But has she lost that ability because he hasn't got the Mind Stone now? Because it was the Mind Stone she was controlling, and now he hasn't got the Mind Stone.
Yeah, but that's how she controlled him physically, wasn't it? Because like when she did that, shoved him through the floor, you see that. She was her red stuff around the Mind Stone, but I think the fact that we think it's her bringing him back to life, surely that gives her some control over him mentally, because his whole is his whole persona personified by her, or is she literally brought him back to life?
Do
you know what I mean?
Because also, we don't know if Dead Vision is actual Vision or if that's just something she's seeing.
Exactly.
Like, is she just reminded of him because?
But she did. Well, we find out she's literally stolen his corpse, haven't we?
Yeah.
In the show, so she goes in, nabs his corpse, and she's now injected it with Vision life force or something, and he's now walking around, and he seems to be becoming conscious.
Which begs the question, like. Because he says I can't remember anything before Westview.
Yeah. So does he? So he doesn't know he's an Avenger. He doesn't remember Thanos.
No, that's true. They've never mentioned any of that.
Yeah.
So so maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's just been a hard reboot.
Because I think we might have said it last week or in our last episode. I'm not sure where he as I said in Infinity War, if you take out the Mind Stone, there's still a whole lot of Vision left.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So maybe she's just, because she got her powers from the Mind Stone, maybe she's just filling in that Mind Stone gap.
Oh, maybe.
Because
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a lot more simple than
that sort of leads me on to another thing. Do you know the bit towards the beginning where Agnes comes over?
Oh yeah.
She asks her if she wants to do the line again.
Yeah.
Which means she's aware. Yeah. And so I saw another thing online. You know how last week we were talking about how she might be Agatha Harkness or something like that, which is a witch from the comics. I saw that Agnes is Agatha Harkness without the middle two syllables.
Yeah.
So do you reckon that's pretty much confirmed that?
I think it is, because also I saw someone else saying about the colours she's wearing are very similar to
the comic.
What she wears in the comics, like especially the 80s, like the 80s outfit.
So it makes me wonder if she's aware of it. Maybe it's not Wanda doing it. Maybe Agnes is doing it to Wanda.
Well,
that way maybe not doing it to her, but like coercing her into doing it. Because that way,
that's what I'm thinking. So she thinks so Wanda thinks she's a villain.
Do you know what I mean? Because you can't just have her be a villain straight out. Can you? I mean, they could, but then what's she going to be? The villain in Doctor Strange 2? Or
maybe that's what it's. What I do like is that it kind of alludes that Wanda thinks she's in control, but then she clearly isn't. Not even in control of herself. Like, she thinks she's the mastermind behind this. and
Yeah.
there's someone else at play. Obviously, working with Agnes.
Yeah.
And put some strings. So I don't know if we're going to get a reveal of a big bad. I think it might be a bit too late for that now.
Do you
I
think
think next episode would be the last chance.
Yeah, I think if we do, it will be someone we've already met.
Oh, really?
Well, because that could like let's say Agnes is the big bad, or like something like that, because that way they've already introduced them, and they're not you're not just bringing in another person in like late in the game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, it was actually, like we were saying, like it's her husband all along.
Yeah.
I also think, everyone's saying, oh, they're going to have to bring in the big guns to help take down Wanda. I don't think we are going to get that. I think we're going to get Maria with her photon powers, which clearly is what's going on with the
Monica.
Monica. Sorry, yeah, Monica.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's another thing. They talk about the Shield and FBI agents are talking about the battle at the end of Endgame, and they seem to know that Scarlet Witch can take on Thanos on her own. And then Jimmy Woo says, "Oh, but I'd argue Captain Marvel can do that too." So, which means that Sword and the FBI know that everything that happened during that battle. But it's who told wild. Them? And also, how do they know? Was there video cameras, like satellite?
I mean, there was a lot of sorcerers and stuff there, so maybe some of them went and told, or
But then, obviously, when they mention Captain Marvel, Rambo gives us sort of a strange look, as if she doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and I think that is down to, I think, because it's going to be she came back in the 90s, vanished, and then we never saw her again until...
Maybe she came back to Earth, because she comes back at the end of Infinity War, doesn't she? Captain Marvel, but maybe then she didn't go and see Maria her mum.
Yeah, she hasn't seen them for 20 years now, 30 years now.
I've seen a few things floating around that maybe she doesn't like Captain Marvel because maybe it was because of Captain Marvel that her mum got cancer. Because there's lots of radiation and all sorts going on, isn't there?
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean,
I think we're going to get a reveal of that at some point.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I definitely think seeing Monica as is it Photon? What's her
Photon
name?
It was
Monica.
Was Monica? Well, yeah, but her mum's name in Sword was Photon as well.
Oh, was that her name as well? Ah.
Yeah, when she's in the Shield headquarters and there's a plaque of her mum, it says Maria Photon Rambo.
Ah, okay.
So I mean, it could just be a...
I know it's...
Who knows? This is what's wild with Marvel now. It's back in the day, but that's a nice cheeky wink. Now it's like, oh yeah, that could be her.
Yeah.
Like,
what does it mean?
Like, do you remember back in the day when it was like, Iron Man was building his new element and Coulson picks up the shield and it's like, oh, wink, wink.
Yeah, like
nowadays it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like, it could just be it could be anything.
Yeah. I did see potential spoiler. I don't know if it's real or not, but there was some like leaked toys that are linked to WandaVision, like collectibles, and it's got Wanda in a comic book accurate suit with the big headpiece. And it's also got Monica in a photon outfit.
Oh, maybe then.
So, I mean,
I think they're gonna.
If we take like when they leaked Hulk coming out of the Hulkbuster as a pop vinyl, remember that?
No.
They released a little bobblehead thing of Hulk bursting out of the Hulkbuster suit. And that's why everyone in Infinity War, why everyone thought that was going to happen, but then that didn't even end up happening in the movie. So maybe it's one of them scenarios where they make toys.
God, these things are way expensive.
Oh no, it's crazy.
Jesus. Yeah, I think it's going to be like she'll go, but I think she'll develop powers, and they're like, oh, you can, you're not affected by the radiation anymore for whatever reason.
So she can then
send you back in.
Yeah,
you can go in and stop her.
Actually,
we're going to give you this photon suit, and then that's how.
Do you think she already has powers? Because not only did she get shot out of the town and not have a scratch on her, and she claimed Wanda protected her, but also when they took scans of her blood and all that sort of stuff, the scans came up like blank.
Yeah, well, they said
we want to take blood, and she was like, no, because maybe.
Yeah, no, I fully think she's already got powers. Yeah, because if you look at the scan, it looks like it's like her neck and shoulders.
Yeah,
but it's just white. So I think it is like
because maybe that's why she gives the funny look when they mention Captain Marvel. Because they're like, oh, Captain Marvel could take on Thanos, and she's thinking, oh, well, so could I. Well, I'm not going to tell you.
I fully think she's got that, and I think she'll be bring her in to take someone down.
It would make sense.
The three of them. Maybe it'll be her, Vision, and Wanda. But no, I fully expect her to have some sort of powers. She also mentions an aerospace engineer.
Yeah,
got 80s equipment.
Supposedly. Now, so sorry, Karen. I'll let you go.
I mean, I'm thinking, is this a Reed Richards?
See, I thought that as well ran through my mind, but I read online that in the Spanish subtitle version, it alludes that it's a woman.
Oh.
Because you know how in other languages they have like feminine and masculine words and that. Supposedly it might be a woman, but I mean, that could just easily be Sue Storm.
That's true actually. I need to really check my personal biases.
Or it could be someone we don't even know.
No, that could be quite. That would be a good twist.
I mean, I'd enjoy that.
You could even do that in the show, like if you do introduce and be like, "Oh, Mr. Richard, you're the aerospace engineer who provided her," and he's like, "No, that would be my wife," and it's like, "Oh, yeah," even they're like, "Oh, of course," like,
yeah. I mean,
but or is it just? See, this is what I mean. Like, this could just be it's just someone I know. Because of course she would, but at the same time, we're all like,
and also, why would she make a point of alluding to it and not just saying who it is if it wasn't a big reveal?
Yeah.
Do we know any pre-existing characters, aerospace engineers?
That's what I'm just thinking.
Is Rhodey? Is he just an Air Force pilot?
No, he's the pilot. He wouldn't be an engineer. Saying it could be Riri Williams, Ironheart, but I doubt that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they probably wouldn't really introduce her through that. Do you think?
Again, I don't think it's anyone. If it's going to be someone, it will be. No, I don't think it'll be anyone. Or if it is, it will be a tie in. So I think get to the Fantastic Four film.
Hold on a minute. Was Captain Marvel a aerospace engineer?
No, she's just a test pilot.
Was just a fight? Yeah, but you know
that's what I mean. But she tested stuff out, didn't she?
Yeah.
So it could just be Monica Rambeau knows the person who was what's her name? Marvel.
Oh, her.
It could just be she knows, or just someone in that circle develops the 80s drone.
I just feel like it's going to be, whether it's a pre-existing character or it's someone new, it's going to be some sort of a reveal, because otherwise why would they make a point of not mentioning who it is? Do you want to talk about the really speedy elephant in the room?
Yeah, okay. Like that dog, where did he come from? Like, I can't believe they put in an actual dog into a Marvel film. My mind is blown, because this is the first instance of a dog we've seen in an MCU property.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
Neither can I. But no, I don't think there has been a dog in the MCU so far.
Surely.
It hasn't been.
There's definitely a few dogs in the MCU, if you know what I'm talking about.
I don't understand. Explain this joke.
Jeremy Renner.
Okay, yeah. Did he have a
Surely there must be a dog in another movie.
I keep thinking Age of Ultron, but I don't think there is.
Doesn't the kid have a dog? When the kid that Hawkeye saves, does he have a dog?
Nah.
You sure he does? Yeah, that's right. He does, because then the dog jumps on the flying thing that comes to save him. Sure. Is this like the Nelson Mandela effect?
Dogs. The Marvel Cinematic Universe wiki. Here we are.
And what about Cosmo the space dog? Or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but he hasn't been in.
Yeah, he's in Guardians.
Okay, yeah. That's true. And also, what's his face? Big Bulldog Teleport.
Oh yeah, but who counts that? What's his name? Like Lockjaw or something?
Lockjaw, that's it. Okay, so we've had one dog so far, maybe two in the Incredible Hulk.
No, there's one. I'm telling you, there is one in Age of Ultron. There must be.
Oh, I suppose there's dogs in Thor, the first Thor.
Oh, and he's like, we got cats and dogs, and he's like, give me one. I want to ride a dog.
Yeah. Give me a dog. That is a grossly overstuffed pet store for that small of a town.
Yeah. For like two city blocks. Anyway,
let's get onto the actual thing because we've talked too much. So big spoilers. Quicksilver is in this, but he's not.
He is. Is he?
What?
Isn't he?
Who knows?
Who is this?
Who knows?
Who's the popsicle?
Do you think it's exactly? Why is he from Brooklyn? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so for those who don't know, and if you don't know, then why are you listening to this?
Yeah.
She opens the door, and you see the back of her head, and he's got silver hair. And who's the only person with silver hair that's below the age of 45? Quicksilver. However,
I'd say below the age of 45 because I was going to be like, oh, Hank Pym. Wouldn't that be a twist? Like, it's you. He's like, yeah, where's Scott?
He's just going, ants.
You guys seen any ants lately?
Anyway.
Scott. Oh, Jesus.
So it's not Aaron Taylor Johnson. Is that his name? It is Evan Peters.
Exactly. Who is from the Marvel Fox X-Men stuff.
I just want to say this right off the bat. I've always preferred the Age of Ultron Quicksilver to the Fox X-Men one. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I just find the power scaling wise, the Age of Ultron one makes so much more sense for this universe.
Yeah.
Because
he's quick, but he's only as quick as like a motorbike or something.
Yeah, or like a singular bullet. Yeah, well, you throw a few more in there.
Yeah, like he can only do what the X-Men one does in like the kitchen in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, because that's just too much because that would just solve every problem.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he does take all the bullets out of Claw's gun, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he is quick, isn't he? He's just not when you're trying to.
But no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Back to do you think if they'd kept him around, he would still have his accent, or do you think he would have dropped it like Wanda?
I would imagine they would have done the same thing, where like each movie it slowly gets less and less. And their reasoning was because she was trying to be undercover, didn't they? And what's the first thing that like identifies you when you talk to someone is if you sound like an Eastern European, they're going to be like, what are you doing in America? So I don't mind the accent thing.
I do. I can't get over how I felt when I first saw it.
So why? Okay, so so it pans around. It look from her point of view, and it's Evan Peters, and she says Pietro's, which confirming that it is her brother, and then Darcy saying what everyone was thinking. She's recast Pietro.
But has she recast him as Peter Maximoff that we met from Days of Future Past all the way up to Dark Phoenix? Or is this just, again, another wink to the audience, like, hey, look who we happen to get to recast him? In which case, well, it can't be, because then they would just get Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, obviously, they want to start bringing, I think, clearly as Evan Peters was a much more popular portrayal, I think that, and then now that they've got the rights to it, they've just gone, right, well, we can just bring him over, fill that Quicksilver-shaped hole with Evan Peters. This is why this is the perfect way to do it, seeing as there seems to be no rules at the moment. But is he just created for the show?
I can't.
Do you think Wanda's created him for this show scenario, or do you think he's actually there? Like she's plucked him out of another reality? She looks at him and recognizes him.
She had no idea.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what made me think that Agnes is somehow at play here, because she's the only other one that knows seems to notice what's going on, and stuff happens without Wanda wanting it to happen. And like when the kids grow up, for example, Agnes is there. She doesn't seem surprised. Maybe it's her doing it.
When Wanda mentions her brother in the episode, is that the bit? Is that when they find the dog? Is that when she says it?
I can't remember. Just
because also, otherwise, how would Agnes know about?
Well, in the same way that all the sword agents know about Ultron and Thanos, and like people know about stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but let's say within the sitcom.
Yeah.
she hasn't told Agnes that information.
Well, maybe she already knew
But
that.
yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, she would.
Because if she is aware of what's going on, which means that she's not under any spell, well, per se, then maybe she knew that beforehand, and she's affecting Wanda, or I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see what they do with Quicksilver next episode. Like, is he going to be a main character now, like a series regular, or is it just a cameo?
Or is he going to be the thing that breaks Wanda's illusion?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he has powers as well.
Yeah,
because is he just a character, or is he a person? Is he Pietro?
That's what if. But what if he's not even Pietro on the outside? Like Norm's not Norm on the outside.
Exactly.
He's just someone else they found.
He could just be a random dude.
You're cast as Wanda's brother, but really he's just not. Which is why they said when he's very far away. Whoever ever heard that just thought, he would come and visit from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Not far away as in the afterlife. It's baffling. But then does this mean that the other X-Men are there? Because then you have to then technically fold in all the X-Men timelines, because Days of Future Past is the one that he appeared in, which means that you've also got to include all the old X-Men.
Well, not necessarily, because as they've mentioned, there's like an infinite number of timelines and parallel universes and stuff. True. Maybe she's just plucked him from another timeline. Maybe she hasn't brought it together. Maybe she's just gone, I'll have that one because I don't have a brother here, so nab.
That's true.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy the fact that they can do this at this point. They can just bring characters over. Yeah. It gives me hope that we'll see Charlie Cox's Daredevil, stuff like that in the future.
I have a strong feeling they'll bring him back.
I bloody hope so.
And it'll be I want them to keep it a secret. Yeah. So he'll just again, if in Spider-Man Far From Home or whatever, or not Far From Home, Spider-Man 3, he'll just show up.
Yeah. Well,
even if he doesn't put the suit on.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. But in terms of like keeping it a secret, I obviously read Evan Peters was in this show before.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I read that he was in it, but a lot of people saying like, oh, maybe he's playing Mephisto or whatever. It surprised me that he is actually Pietro.
Yeah, I find that's a bit. That's what I mean. Unless he is Quicksilver, then why is he here? What does he bring to the table?
Well, if he is or if he isn't.
No, if he isn't, then why is...
Just to fuck with it? But yeah, but then it'd only be a nod to us. It wouldn't be a nod to them, would it? So he must be.
Yeah. My mind... I can't wait till next Friday.
Yeah,
I need it now. Give it to me. I'm just seeing if anything like that's trending on Twitter quickly. Instead, I've got the Gorilla Glue girls trending.
Gorilla Glue. As soon as the episode aired, I went on Twitter, and obviously because I'd already seen it, I wasn't looking out for spoiler warnings. But it was just everywhere. Like even on Instagram.
I did manage into avoid. The only thing I saw trending was X-Men. Was the only thing I had trending on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought, well, I didn't know, but I thought that's easy enough to hide.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end I was like, oh, dip. Right. Well, I guess we'll have to come back to this next week once the next episode's out. Yeah. Do we want to move on to the imagination zone? I don't know what I'm going with this.
Imagination.
So obviously this is, let's give Marvel the benefit of the doubt and say this is them bringing in the X-Men.
Yeah.
How would you have done it if
not for this way?
Yeah.
I think...
Oh my god! Sorry, I keep yawning. Yeah,
that's okay.
Kevin Feige come to you. I was like, Lewis, I want to make the X-Men. Help me, please.
I think a possible way that it could have been done, or could still be done, is something to do with the snap and the blip.
Okay.
Because the stones are being used essentially on half the world, half the population, and we know that Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, etc., have got their powers from these stones, who's to say that when these stones are used on half the world's population, it doesn't unlock certain genes in their head? Because I think they have come out and said that the Mind Stone only unlocked the twins' powers that they sort of already had within them.
Oh, that's clever.
So, and how they're going to describe how they're going to excuse the fact that mutants haven't been around, that maybe once everyone's blipped back, certain people's genes get sort of unlocked in their heads, potentially.
Maybe, yeah. Ooh, that's a good one.
But, I mean... Yeah, well,
oh, I never thought of that. My one is completely wrong.
Wrong. They're all wrong.
Mine is from a pre-2019 look at things.
Okay,
the way I always assumed it would be. And because I came up with this, I not really thought much more of it. But the mutant population isn't as big as it is in the comics.
Yeah.
At least not at first. It is a very small group, like less than 100, if that.
Okay.
And so S.H.I.E.L.D. have kept tabs on them, but they've not been like a threat level.
Yeah.
Like they know they're there. Like they say, they keep tabs on everyone, but they only act on those that they perceive as threats.
No,
like, well, these are all just teenagers with abilities, but we're not going to come and find them. We're not going to get they're not going to get teenagers to fight their fights.
Yeah.
But also, I like the idea of for the sake of argument, let's just say Fury's still running the show.
Yeah.
Like him and Xavier know each other, or like they cross paths, and it's like, so yeah, when Xavier's like, hey, okay, I'm gonna open up, or maybe they were both in S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time when like this mutant phenomenon came about.
Yeah.
Xavier's always been like, oh, Dip, that's me, but I'm not gonna say no. He was like, look, I'll look after them. You can trust me with them, but we'll stay out of your way if you stay out of ours. And it's just been like, and him and Fury have been like, yeah, fine. So Fury just buried all the files and was like, they're there, but we don't need them. They trust each other to stay well out of the way. So then Xavier can be running the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
Yeah.
And in a way of saying like, look, the world's not ready for you yet.
Yeah.
Until we see the Avengers and we see all this coming about. And then if you do, I don't know, montage, whatever. Not montage, but and then you show over the years that more and more students are being like, no, we want to be seen in the spotlight. We can, be accepted now. And one of those could even be Eric Lyncher, who's like, no, I'm not gonna hide anymore.
Yeah.
Which kind of what they do in the old one, saying like, no, like
we don't want to
play the long con. Like, I made a promise that we wouldn't get involved in any Avengers events. That we've just got to stay out of the way and do our thing. Obviously, that can falter in fighting and whatever. Yeah. And then maybe we have this group of radical mutants go on the attack.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yeah.
So in this version, the mutants have always been there, per se. They just haven't made themselves known, which obviously is a viable theory or way of doing it, because just because there's Avengers doesn't necessarily mean they know, like the S.H.I.E.L.D. etc. knows everything that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a real small group of them.
But then how would they explain the fact that when you become a teenager is when you start to manifest your mutant abilities? And surely they would have heard about random kids sort of setting on fire or sucking the life force out of.
Oh, sorry, every other week.
Sorry, I lost you there. Say that again.
But I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. are hearing about superpowered people every other week. Like, they're always cropping out of the woodwork in this universe.
True.
But let's just say that they determine. It could be like an early example of Zola's algorithm. Like, they determine that, okay, well, Tony Stark, who is a weapons manufacturer who's built a suit that can fire weapons, he might be, might need to keep a tab on him. Whereas Bobby Drake, who can just make ice, but that's all they know of him. They don't know of the extent of his powers. Well, that's not a threat that requires our attention, but we'll put him in the folder. But then there's just no one who's ever dealt with that.
That's a good point. I think I actually prefer this theory because of the fact that if you have Wolverine, for example, and they've got to do Wolverine because he is the most popular X-Man.
Yeah. You
can't have him without him being in the wars, I feel like, and having that long backstory, because that's such an important part of his character.
That's what I mean. So they've been there, but it's, I don't know, maybe Charles saved Fury's life once on a mission, and he was like, "Oh, you have powers." It's like, yeah, oh yeah, maybe they were going to apprehend that group of mutants or something.
Yeah,
and Agent Fury and Agent Xavier, I'm going to call him Agent X because he's we're going to like stop them, and then during the mission, like they all saved Fury's life, including X, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry." So then Fury's like, "Okay, look, fine. Like you saved my life. You're right. They're not a threat. They're scared and confused, and they just want help. Who better to do that than you? So go use your parents' wealth, buy that mansion upstate. I'll bury the paperwork." And then obviously, like they're like, "Yeah, great." And then a couple of years, maybe they fall just apart, but they always know that, like, no, you've got your thing. I'm not getting involved. I've got my thing. You don't get involved, and we just kind of keep each other's cases quiet. But then something happens, and Fury's like, "Nah, I need to go chat to Charles."
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thought, because the fact that Shield, etc., knew about aliens and Skrulls and stuff since the 90s, and they kept that quiet until. Well, as far as we know, none of the normal Avengers know about that sort of stuff, even to this day.
Yeah, and you could even have, like, I don't know, maybe once a week, Fury and Charles, or maybe once a month, and they just kind of update each other. So Charles is like, I've got two new students, one who has laser eyes and another who has untold psychic powers.
And Fury's like, yeah, well, I've got a Norse god and I've got a man in a robot suit. And he's like, well, yeah, well, I've got a
just one up each all the time. Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, I've got a man with a bow and arrow.
Oh. Yeah, well, I got a girl who can turn into diamond and the bad hugger.
I've got a man that runs around and uses his extremely long tongue to catch things in the air.
He doesn't like getting struck by lightning. But, like, you know, and then maybe he says, like, oh, I've got, he says, I'm working with Eric now. Eric's a teacher or something. And he's like, oh, the magnet guy. He's like, yeah, but, you know, he's also got a degree in whatever, or, you know.
Magnetology.
Who's like, yeah, sure. Or, like, you know, like, no, he's got, like, a history of something.
He's got a degree in being a big dick.
Yes, that. But, like, it shows Charles is, like, they're more than the superpowers of people, whereas someone like Fury or whoever the Shield person, whoever their equivalent is, like, nah, they're a weapon. Like, okay, but that's their thing. That's what I'm keeping tabs on. I don't care what their background is. And then maybe there is an event where Magneto takes a group of mutants to free someone. Free Wanda, maybe. Let's say Wanda, because he's like, she's a mutant. Don't make her daughter, because that's just convoluted. But, we're going to free this mutant. Fury, whoever sees this, is like, a magnet guy. Okay, hang on. I need to have a word. So he then heads off to find Charles, and he's like, this is your mess. I said I'd stay out of the way, but if you're going to bring it into my world, I'm going to.
Yeah.
So then Charles is like, no, let me deal with it. And then we get X-Men 1. That's the film. We introduce this X-Men team to the wider world. And that's how I would do it. But I do really like your mindset idea, because then that gives a reason to everyone who got blipped.
Yeah.
And it is a good way of introducing them all.
I was just trying to think of a way that already involves stuff that's already happened, but there's no need for that to necessarily be a factor. And who's to say that Charles Xavier, with his big brain and his big cerebro machine, isn't just erasing the knowledge of mutants from everyone's minds anyway?
Well, yeah, that could be a case as well.
Like maybe they've always been there, and people were just forgetting.
Yeah, so maybe they're not mutants; it's just in there. But then I suppose I'll say it's
not them, but like maybe all the humans are just forgetting about any major incident that involved a mutant, because Charles is, doing the old wipey wipe.
Yeah. Apart from someone who couldn't see it because he only has one eye, like Nick Fury. I just want Fury to be back in there, like, give him more stuff to do. Like,
give him more running. Give him more running to do.
Let him run a whole mile, like a Tom Cruise-esque running scene.
Oh, can you imagine?
Has to stop him for 5 minutes. But yeah, I always
running down the hall like, I am not Lawrence Fishburne.
You know why that Lawrence Fishburne is in this MCU now? We can have them interact.
He's Goliath, isn't he?
Which means we could have a nice flashback to, like, Professor X and maybe, like, Beast.
Hank.
Maybe Beast was like, and then they're working with Goliath and Pym, and
Hank
like we got like a mini Hank McCoy.
What the fuck is his name? Hank Pym.
Exactly.
They could have, the two Hanks could have some hanky panky.
Oh, you ruined it.
But no, yeah, you're right. I mean, and who's to say that whole theory of the Fantastic Four from the 60s getting lost in the quantum realm?
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next.
What about the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, and they're off in space. I think I've said this on podcast, but just because like they're stuck in space from a mission in the 60s, and because of that, let's say it was Sword. We're like, all right,
time works different, doesn't it? In space.
Yeah, no more space missions. We're not touching this. Like, we just lost a team of 4 people.
They got stuck in a space cloud, and one of them got really heavy.
Yes, and he wears a big rubber rock suit.
Imagine if they brought back the original cast. Imagine.
I would including Chris Evans.
Oh yeah.
They can. I really didn't.
Sorry, carry on.
No, go on.
I was just saying, if they could bring over a Fox X-Man and just call him Quicksilver, then they can bring back Chris Evans as Human Torch, shave his head.
See, I really like Michael Chiklis as the Thing, but I really like those films. I don't know why everyone like slanders them.
It's an example of watching a film when I was a kid and being like, oh, I like that, and then I grew up and I was told that it was shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's shit, isn't it? Oh yeah. And
then you go back and like even like when everyone's like, no, they're bad. Like I think I've seen Silver Surfer more than the first one.
Yeah, I think Silver Surfer is better. It's a better film.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it in cinema. I like that bit where Johnny gets all their powers at the end. Like, I remember thinking that was the coolest thing ever. Cool. That was the Avengers.
That's the thing. When you're a kid, that's the sort of like thing that you'd want to do, like that you'd want to happen. It's like Power Rangers; they'll combine.
Yeah, it is. It's like but yeah, I do think Fantastic Four being from the 60s, and then maybe you can have some kind of ag between Reed and Xavier if you're going to bring them in and like start a mini Illuminati. Because then that leads away for the Illuminati of like you've got like okay, well Xavier, like okay, you've introduced mutants to the world now, like you're their leader, like they've all turned to you to like lead the way. Reed's back from space and is like, what did I miss? But have I got some stories for you? Yeah. You've got Fury, who's still got his little fingers in all the different jams, whatever.
Yeah. Then you got Wakanda, someone from Wakanda, not necessarily Black Panther, but someone else. Even throwing Doctor Strange as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you have these kind of bigger characters.
Yeah, it's sort of the heads of each sort of respective world. You got like the science, the Avengery intelligence world. You got the Wakanda magic. Throw in Namor and his little winged feet.
Howard the Duck. He could be put Howard the Duck in there. Oh, wouldn't that be so good? Oh.
Well, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Namor, and Howard the Duck running around.
Yeah, but like you don't have to make the point of like it's like we always said about Rocket Raccoon. I also get that within the context of the universe. Okay, yeah, he's a raccoon, but to everyone else, he's just a standard like.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Yeah, like there's nothing about him being a raccoon other than the fact he's a raccoon that changes his character.
Yeah, because even Tony Stark, isn't it? You're only a genius on Earth, pal.
Yeah, but he. Like when he's in Guardians 2, when him and Quill use the jetpacks and flying around, he could easily be Bradley Cooper. He doesn't have to be a raccoon.
Yeah,
does that make sense? So you can do the same thing with Howard the Duck. So he is Howard the Duck, but he's a sentient duck, but he knows a hell of a lot about stuff going on in space. He's like really big into space politics.
Yeah, he's really big into space prostitution as well, by the looks of things.
Oh yeah, well we'll just sweep that rug.
Isn't that just side note? Isn't that planet called Contraxia?
Is that actually? Oh,
I'm pretty sure it is. And do you reckon that's on purpose?
Has to be. It's James Gunn, isn't it? Like
I've Contraxia chlamydia.
Have you ever? Sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Fetus deletus.
Contraxia chlamydia. Fetus deletus. Oh, we're going to prison.
So talking about bringing characters over and folding all these other properties in is something I never thought would happen. But then again, I never thought that Spider-Man would ever be in the MCU or various things like that. So it kind of makes me think that nothing is out of the question and they could literally do anything.
This is like beside the point. Well, sort of like we were going through Sky Movies the other day, and we're like, "There's nothing on here now." And then I realised it's because Disney's just put all their stuff on Disney Plus, which means every film ever is just gone, apart from Back to the Future and like Saving Private Ryan.
Because like, don't Fox even owns stuff like Alien, Predator, Terminator, all that sort of stuff, don't they?
That is all under the Disney umbrella now. It's only Sony films, Universal, Lionsgate, and Warner Brothers. But then even Warner Brothers is putting all their stuff on HBO, so they're taking it off streaming sites and stuff.
So basically, eventually, Netflix is just going to be the movies that nobody ever watches and their original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Don't you love monopolies? They're so good.
Oh, I'm gonna flip the
What's
table.
more annoying is that, like, I want to be angry at Disney for this, but at the same time, I mean, look at the t-shirt I'm wearing. Like, come on.
for those who can't see, he's wearing a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, and Mickey Mouse ears on his head.
There's a Donald Duck over there as well somewhere. But like, look, all right, Star Wars owned by Disney, Marvel owned by Disney. There's more Marvel and Star Wars stuff. Like, I want to be angry at them for having this monopoly, but at the same time, they produce good content.
Yeah, I don't quite think it's a monopoly just yet.
And they are like a safe brand. Like,
yeah.
Like, I know you can get into them doing like business wrongs and, you know, whatever. But at the same time, they don't really do much wrong.
That we know about.
But yeah, like they're a safe brand. And so then I get annoyed when like they own everything. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, good, they own everything.
It's
I don't know why I got into this conversation.
It's probably quite bad of us to, like, when we heard they were buying Fox, we were like, yes. Like, who cares about a monopoly? We're finally going to get X-Men with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wow!
It's baffling. What I love is that, like, you know, Fox and Warner Brothers, they've been around since like 1918, whatever. Yeah. As soon as cinema came out, and then Disney came out in the early 1900s, and they were like the new kids on the street. And I was like,
and they were just little hand-drawn animations, weren't they?
Yeah, and now it's like,
they own everything.
They are the original underdogs, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel so conflicted.
They own National Geographic. They own fucking Pixar. They own Marvel. They own Lucasfilm. Do you think we should any more thoughts about bringing in characters over, multiverse, or
that's pretty much everything I had. Even bringing, I mean, what would you do for the Fantastic Four?
I like the idea that they were from the 60s and that maybe they got lost in space, because obviously time works different out in space, doesn't it? Or the fact that maybe they are just for people that are just currently alive, and then they go out to space and get doinked by that space mist.
So just a modern.
Yeah, I mean,
a modern.
Yeah, there's no reason they can't just be a normal team of astronauts, scientists.
Astronauts. So I think something like the Fantastic Four, it would be okay to do another origin story, because even though we've had two, and one as recent as 5 years ago, I feel like modern audiences still want to know what's what.
Yeah, and if they just did one well, I think people would be fine.
Because you can do it within like half an hour as like a prelude.
Like nobody went to see the 2015 one. Let's be real. I mean, I did.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I still haven't seen it. I refuse to.
Don't watch it ever.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. But you know, like, even if you start it like halfway through the mission, so you kind of cut, I don't know, title card like 1960 or 67 or whatever, and then you see these four, lack of where teenagers kind of doing whatever. Reed's obviously working. Johnny and I was gonna say Nick. That's not Nick. That's his name. Ben. They're like messing around in the background, or whatever, on the shuttle. They're like, "Hey, come on! Like, we're approaching the storm. Cool. Ba 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 ba. Boom! Big wave." Boom. And then like you can do it all within half an hour. You don't have to set up everyone. You can show everyone's characters within one scene. Yeah,
or they could just straight up do a Spider-Man and just assume we know. How it works. So I think
I do like the idea of them being from the 60s and like being stuck in the modern day. So you've got Johnny Storm calling everything groovy and fun, and like, you know,
doing acid and
and
being like, I'm on fire. And they're like, no, you actually are on fire.
He's like, whoa, Ben, you're hard, man. He's like, yes.
Rock on.
I bet you don't make a joke like that.
Probably.
But I am very interested to see where they go with the Fantastic Four.
100%.
Because other than the films, I don't really know much about them, and I always just assume Reed's just a massive dink. Like,
you bloody
I don't
nerd.
like him as a character. Yeah, but like at least the other smart, like he's too smart for his own good. Like, oh, I'm so smart that the best way to save the world is like, he goes the Ultron route. Like the best way to save the world is to destroy it. Whereas at least Tony Stark's bet we're smart, but I'm going to be smart for this humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Fantastic Four, but I think I'm more excited for Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I want a good.
He has the potential to be a big bad, like globally for an Avengers
like movie. A low-key kind of thing.
Yeah,
definitely. But I guess we'll just wait and see once WandaVision's finished and see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I want the next episode now. Give it to me.
Too. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait till next week, and then we can do this again.
Yes, I suppose that has given us a chance to have something to talk about. It does feel nice having a nice big break from Endgame, like a nice.
Yeah, we had a whole year, didn't we?
Well, Far From Home, I guess.
Yeah, but that was still 2019. We had the whole of 2020 without nothing.
Exactly, and it was like okay, and then the first thing we get was something so different that we've not had before.
It makes me excited for where it's going.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for stuff coming forward. And we get Winter Soldier next month.
Next month. I knew it. It's next month.
I'm so gassed.
My boy.
Oh. For those who can't see, Lewis is holding up his Falcon pop figure.
I am. And now I'm licking it on the head.
He has pop figures.
No, I have one. Not in the cupboard.
Actually, I bought you one for Christmas.
No, that's true. This one and bobblehead. Should we wrap it up?
Should we wrap this up? Because
yeah.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our ramblings. Feel free to let us know your thoughts of WandaVision or where you think it's going, or what you would do with the MCU, or just anything. The fact that you're listening is enough for us.
George rambles. I don't ramble. George does.
I ramble far too much for my own good.
But yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, so if you want to subscribe and follow, that would be great. You can find us on all the socials. I think I'm at Geodursley on most things.
I'm at Creechmeister. CREECHMEISTER.
I'm not going to spell mine out because it's my real name. It matters, but
subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see the updates. Hopefully, we'll be trying to get these on the regular podcast services ASAP.
And then you can listen with your little air holes, and we haven't got to worry about videoing stuff.
Yeah.
We'll sign off. So thank you for listening. Goodbye. Love you all.
Bye.
Wipe your bum.